Beloved, the overflow has already begun. You may not see it with your eyes, but it is live, active, moving beneath the surface of your experience. Energy does not wait for permission. It flows according to the pattern of your assumption. The moment you decide, the moment you feel it real, creation obeys. You stand at the center of your world and everything revolves to match the state you occupy. When you assume abundance, the current of life reorganizes itself in ways far beyond the reasoning of man. What you call coincidence, chance, or luck is only the echo of your inner command. Do not be deceived by appearances. What you see is only the shadow, the after effect. The true movement is invisible, unfolding in silence. Even now, doors you cannot yet imagine are swinging open. Even now, the people, places, and circumstances necessary for your fulfillment are shifting into place. Overflow energy is not about effort. It is not about trying harder. It is the still assurance within you that says, I already have it. It is mine. It is done. That quiet knowing is the signal to the universe, and everything must answer. When you relax into this truth, resistance dissolves. The flow increases. What once felt impossible becomes effortless. Money finds its way to you, opportunities arrive uninvited, relationships align themselves without struggle. This is the nature of overflow. It multiplies, it expands, it exceeds every boundary, and even the delays, even the seeming setbacks, are not against you. They are the rearrangements required to bring forth the highest version of your desire. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Everything is working for you. So live as though it is already yours. Walk with the quiet dignity of one who knows the promise has been fulfilled. Overflow energy is live within you now. Step into it and watch as your world bends to the vision you hold. Energy always follows assumption. It is not your struggle, not your labor, not your restless attempts that create the world you experience. It is what you dare to accept as true about yourself. The moment you assume a state, you give it life. The unseen immediately begins to reorganize itself to mirror your inner conviction. This is the law of your being. As within, so without. When you declare inwardly, I am wealthy, or I am loved, or I am free, you are not speaking into an empty sky. You are impressing the invisible substance of reality. That impression becomes the command and energy rushes to obey. The outside world cannot resist the inner decree, for it has no power of its own. It only reflects the state you occupy. To assume is to plant the seed, and energy cannot help but follow the seed to its harvest. Many imagine that life responds to effort. They push, they strive, they chase results. Yet, no matter how hard they work, they often remain bound to the same limitations. Why? Because their assumption remains unchanged. You may toil endlessly in the outer world, but if within you believe yourself lacking, unloved, or unworthy, energy will arrange your life to reflect that assumption. The invisible always precedes the visible. Your assumption is the mold, the pattern, the script, and energy plays it out faithfully Assumption is not a casual thought, it is not a fleeting desire, it is the inner stance you take, the position you hold in imagination. To assume is to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it feels natural. Once it feels natural, it is done. The unseen does not argue with you. It does not delay because of doubt in itself. It only mirrors what you sustain within. The moment you embody the state, creation has already heard your command. This is why energy is so exact. You cannot assume poverty and receive wealth. You cannot assume rejection and experience love. Energy will never betray the state you occupy. It always follows assumption. If your assumption is high, your world will rise to match it. If your assumption is low, your world will sink into the lightness of that belief. There is no accident, no coincidence, no external power dictating your fate. It is always the assumption you hold that summons the fall. So when you look around and see lack, delays, or struggle, do not fight the shadow. Change the assumption. Claim within yourself that you are already the one you long to be. Feel the reality of it so vividly that it becomes more real than the evidence of your senses. Then watch, in patience and certainty, as the unseen organizes itself to make it visible. Energy does not know how to fail, it only knows how to follow. And it follows you, your assumption, your acceptance, your inner decree. Decide now what is true for you, and life itself must answer. Overflow begins within. The outer world is not the starting point of abundance. It is only the reflection, the echo, the after effect. The true source of overflow is the feeling you nurture in the secret place of imagination. What you dare to feel as real within will unfailingly project itself outward until it becomes the evidence you touch and see. Everything you call wealth, opportunity, or blessing is first born as an inner conviction, a state of mind clothed in feeling. Many spend their lives chasing the shadow instead of turning to the source. They run after possessions, positions, and recognition. Yet within themselves, they carry the belief of lack. No matter how much they gather, it slips away, for the assumption of scarcity still governs their experience. But the one who first feels abundant within, even while outer circumstances show nothing, has already set in motion the current of overflow. The outer must eventually conform to the inner law. The feeling of abundance is not tied to numbers, accounts, or visible supply. It is a consciousness of having, a sense of fullness, a knowing that nothing is missing. You can enter this state at any moment. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already surrounded by more than enough. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the joy of it. This feeling, though invisible, is the seed of overflow. It does not remain hidden. It grows. It takes form. Life bends to match the conviction you carry. Overflow does not begin when the bank account rises, or when the opportunity comes, or when others finally recognize your worth. It begins when you dare to feel yourself abundant before any sign appears. This is the great secret. You must claim it within before you see it without. The world is not cause, it is effect. Imagination is the true cause. Abundance is first a mood, a vibration, a state of mind. When you choose to live in the feeling of abundance, even in the smallest ways, you align yourself with increase. Gratitude flows naturally, and gratitude itself multiplies what you have. You stop clinging, fearing, or doubting, because in imagination you already hold the overflow. From this inner richness, ideas arise, doors open, and people appear. The world rearranges itself to reflect the abundance you carried within. You may not see results instantly, but know that the moment you sustain the feeling of abundance, the unseen has already moved. The current is flowing. Energy is gathering, aligning, preparing the evidence. Your task is not to force it, but to remain faithful to the inner state. Refuse to return to thoughts of lack. Refuse to bow to appearances. Stand in the knowing that overflow is alive within you. And soon, what was once only felt in imagination becomes visible. The opportunities appear, the resources multiply, the blessings overflow. Not because you struggled, but because you lived from the true source, imagination. Overflow always begins within, and from there it must reveal itself in your world. The unseen current is already moving. Even if your world appears silent, still, or unchanged, do not be deceived by the surface. Life is not stagnant. Beneath the appearance of stillness, the invisible power is in motion, aligning itself with the state you have accepted within. What you assume inwardly is never ignored. The moment you enter a new state of being, unseen currents begin their work, reshaping circumstances, moving people, and opening paths that the senses cannot yet detect. This is why patience is power. Many abandon their vision too soon, believing nothing is happening. They look around, see the same walls, the same account, the same conditions, and think their inner work has failed. But appearances are the slowest to move, the shadow of a reality that has already shifted. The unseen is always first. The visible is only the delayed reflection. By the time you notice change with your eyes, the change itself was long ago accomplished in the invisible. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. For days, perhaps weeks, there is no sign of growth. Yet beneath the soil, roots are forming, life is stretching, energy is pushing upward. To the impatient eye, nothing is happening, but to the one who understands, everything is happening. The unseen current is alive. The same law applies to your assumptions. The moment you feel a new state as real, you have planted the seed, though your senses may not yet register it. Life is already shifting to fulfill it. When you grasp this, you no longer fear delays. You no longer doubt in the silence. Instead, you learn to rest in confidence, knowing that unseen forces are working in your favor. The phone call you need, the opportunity you seek, the money you desire, these are all in movement now, even if your senses cannot yet confirm it. Trust that the unseen is wiser than your eyes. The great error is to judge by appearances, to look around and say, nothing has changed, therefore nothing is happening. That judgment uproots the seed, halts the current, and pulls you back into the state you wish to escape. But when you persist in the unseen, when you hold your assumption with quiet certainty, the current grows stronger, and in time, it breaks into visibility. The unseen current does not require your struggle. It does not need your worry, your doubt, or your constant checking for results. It only requires your faith in the inner state you have chosen. Once you feel yourself to be the one you desire to be, the current takes over. It flows, rearranges, and completes what you have begun. So today, walk in the calm, knowing that even if nothing looks different yet, everything is shifting. Trust the unseen. Life is moving for you, not against you. What you have assumed is already alive, and soon the outer world will echo the reality you now hold within. Stop struggling with appearances. What you see with your physical eyes is not the true cause of your life. It is only the effect, the shadow, the echo of what you have already accepted within. To fight appearances is to wrestle with smoke. You may exhaust yourself trying to rearrange the outer world, but until the inner state changes, the outer will only rearrange itself into the same pattern again and again. The true reality is your assumption, the belief you hold with faith, the unseen stance you occupy in imagination. Most people live trapped in appearances. They wake each morning, look at their conditions, and call it reality. They say, "This is who I am. This is all I have." In doing so, they bind themselves to the very state they wish to escape. But appearances are not fixed. They are reflections of yesterday's assumption. And the moment you accept a new truth within, appearances must eventually bend to mirror it. The outer is powerless to stand against the inner. Faith is the bridge between what you assume and what you see. When you dare to assume abundance, love, success, or freedom, faith carries that invisible reality into form. Without faith, you may assume for a moment, but soon abandon it when appearances show otherwise. You say, "I imagined, but nothing happened," yet something always happens. The unseen current begins its work instantly, but your doubt uproots the seed before it has time to break through the soil. To hold an assumption with faith is to keep your hand steady, refusing to let appearances dictate your conviction. Think of a mirror. If you smile, the reflection smiles back. If you frown, the reflection frowns. Would you try to change the reflection directly, grabbing at the mirror with your hands? No. You know the only way to change the reflection is to change yourself. The world is the same. It is the mirror of your inner state. To fight appearances is as foolish as trying to move the shadow on the wall instead of moving the object that casts it. Change the assumption, and the shadow must obey. Struggling with appearances creates resistance. It drains your energy and binds you deeper into the state of lack. But resting in your assumption, holding it with faith even when the senses deny it, sets you free. You stop chasing results, stop forcing outcomes, and instead live as though your desire were already fulfilled. That living conviction is what bends reality in your favor. Appearances are always temporary. They shift, they fade, they rearrange themselves to match the dominant state you carry within. What is seen is never final. It is always the outpicturing of what has been assumed. Do not let shadows rule your mind. Do not give appearances the authority that belongs only to imagination. The true reality is invisible. It is the assumption held with faith. Choose it, sustain it, trust it, and soon the shadow world will catch up. Stop struggling with appearances and rest in the knowledge that what you assume with faith must become the life you live. Overflow multiplies when you relax. The moment you stop forcing, striving, and grasping, you allow the energy of life to move freely through you. Struggle creates resistance, but surrender opens the channel. To relax is not to give up. It is to rest in the knowing that what you have assumed is already accomplished. It is the quiet confidence that says, "It is done." In this state, overflow does not trickle, it multiplies, because nothing is blocking its flow. Many believe that tension and hard effort are the keys to success. They live in constant worry, constantly measuring progress, constantly questioning whether their desire will appear. Yet this very tension becomes the barrier. Energy cannot move through a clenched hand, nor can overflow pour into a heart filled with fear and doubt. Relaxation is a sign of true faith. It is the inner gesture of trust, the willingness to let life do what it already promised to do. When you surrender, you are not abandoning your desire, you are embracing it. You are saying, I need not strive for what is already mine. This inner release allows energy to flow without obstruction. Ideas come effortlessly, opportunities unfold naturally, and circumstances align in ways you could not have planned. What once felt like uphill labor becomes a graceful unfolding. Relaxation multiplies the flow because it removes the friction of resistance. Think of water rushing through a river. If there are rocks and blockages, the flow is slowed, disturbed, diverted. But when the path is clear, the water runs swiftly and abundantly. Your inner state works the same way. Worry, doubt, and striving are the rocks that obstruct the current of overflow. Relaxation removes them. When you lean back into the knowing that it is already done, you create the smooth channel through which energy multiplies. This is why so many breakthroughs arrive when you least expect them. You may have struggled for months. Then suddenly, in a moment of rest, the solution comes. A door opens, a call arrives, the overflow manifests. Why? Because in that moment, you stopped resisting, you stopped grasping, and the current could finally carry you. To relax is to live from the end, to dwell in the feeling of fulfillment without needing to see proof. It is the trust of one who knows the seed is already planted and that the harvest cannot be denied. You do not stand over the soil in panic, demanding that the seed break forth instantly. You rest, you trust, you water with gratitude, and in time the fruit appears. Overflow multiplies when you relax because the universe is generous by nature. It is not withholding from you. It is only waiting for you to stop holding it back with fear and striving. Rest in the assurance that it is already yours, and watch how quickly and abundantly the flow increases. The more you relax, the greater the overflow. Everything is for you, never against you. Even when life appears to deny you, even when doors close, when people turn away, or when silence greets your request, understand that these are not punishments but rearrangements. The unseen is always working in harmony with your inner state. And sometimes that harmony requires what looks like delay or rejection. What you interpret as resistance is often the very hand of life clearing the path for a greater fulfillment of your command. When you assume a state within yourself, the universe must answer. But the answer does not always come in the way you expect. Sometimes the people you lean on must step aside so that the right people can enter. Sometimes the door you keep knocking on must remain closed, for behind another lies the true abundance prepared for you. What feels like silence is often protection, and what feels like delay is often alignment. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Everything is for you. The great error is to take appearances personally. When something does not arrive on your schedule, you say, it is not working. When a person rejects you, you declare, I am unloved. But appearances are deceptive. They show only fragments, never the whole. Faith teaches you to look beyond the fragments and see the greater pattern unfolding. Life cannot betray you because life is only the outpicturing of your assumption. If you hold to your inner command with conviction, even the seeming obstacles are secretly obeying it. Consider a sculptor working with stone. Each strike of the hammer seems destructive. Pieces are chipped away, fragments fall, yet the artist sees not destruction but creation. Every strike is necessary to reveal the hidden form. So it is with your life. The rejections, the endings, the silences are the hammer strokes shaping your desire into reality. What feels like loss is actually refinement. To know that everything is for you is to live without fear. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin affirming, "This too is working for my good." You stop resisting life and begin trusting it. With this trust comes peace, and with peace comes power. You no longer abandon your assumptions when appearances deny them, for you know the denial itself is part of the process. Even delays serve you. They stretch your faith, deepen your conviction, and prepare you to receive what you have assumed. Even silence serves you, teaching you to rely on the unseen rather than on the noise of reassurance. Even rejection serves you, guiding you away from what could never have satisfied the state you have chosen. Nothing is wasted. Everything bends toward the fulfillment of your command. So stand firm in the inner knowing that all things are for you. Refuse to be discouraged by appearances. Hold fast to the state you have chosen, and let life rearrange itself as it must. Soon you will look back and see that every delay, every rejection, every silence was a gift in disguise. Truly, everything is for you, never against you. Beloved, the message is simple yet eternal. All power begins within you. Assumption shapes energy, and energy creates form. Overflow does not wait for circumstances. It starts the moment you dare to feel abundant in imagination. The unseen is already moving, appearances are only shadows, and every delay or rejection is a divine rearrangement guiding you toward your fulfillment. Stop struggling, stop doubting, and rest in the knowing that it is already done. When you relax into faith, the current multiplies and carries you effortlessly into the life you have claimed. Everything is working for you, always, in all ways. Live from this truth and watch as your world bends to reflect it. The overflow is alive now, within you and around you, waiting for your acceptance. Step into it with gratitude, confidence, and peace. Thank you for listening, and may your overflow never cease.
Beloved, the path to rebuilding yourself begins within, in the sacred temple of your own mind. Your current life is but a shadow of what you have believed about yourself. If you wish to rise, to rebuild, then you must shift the foundation of your being. Imagination is the most powerful tool you possess, the divine spark within you that shapes and molds the world around you. Everything you see, every experience you encounter, began as an idea in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it. Your imagination is not merely a whimsical daydream or a fleeting escape from reality, it is the very foundation of creation itself. When you harness it, you hold the key to transforming not just your circumstances, but your very identity. To rebuild yourself, you must first acknowledge this truth: your life as it stands today is the result of the images you have consistently entertained in your mind. The life you desire, the strength, the success, the peace already exists within the boundless realm of your imagination. But you must give it form, breathe life into it, and nurture it as though it were a living thing. This is not a passive process, but an act of deliberate creation. Begin by closing your eyes to the world of facts and opening the inner eye of your mind. What do you see? What version of yourself appears before you? If it is not the person you wish to become, then know that you have the power to change it. Picture yourself as the individual you aspire to be, not in some distant future, but right now, in this very moment. See yourself walking with confidence, achieving your goals, radiating joy and fulfillment. The clearer and more vivid this image, the more powerful its effect. Do not simply see this new self, feel it. Imagine what it would feel like to live that life, to embody that version of you. Feel the exhilaration of success, the warmth of love, or the peace of freedom. The feeling is the secret. It is not enough to think about change. You must feel as though it has already occurred. When you do this, your subconscious mind accepts this new reality as truth and begins to align your actions, decisions, and even the circumstances of your life to bring it into being. The beauty of imagination lies in its boundlessness. There are no restrictions, no limitations, except those you impose upon yourself. If you dare to dream boldly, to imagine yourself soaring higher than ever before, then you set the stage for a life beyond your wildest expectations. But if your vision is small and confined, your results will mirror that constraint. Give yourself permission to dream freely, to explore the vast potential within you without fear or doubt. It is crucial to understand that imagination is not just idle fantasy. What you consistently imagine, you eventually become. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. This is why you must guard your thoughts and ensure that your mental imagery aligns with the life you desire. When you allow fear, doubt, or negativity to dominate your imagination, you unknowingly create more of the very things you wish to avoid. In moments of solitude, when the world is quiet, take time to dwell in your imagination. This is your sacred space, a sanctuary where you can rehearse the life you wish to live. Let this practice become a daily ritual, a time when you withdraw from the noise of the world and reconnect with your inner vision. The more you do this, the more real your imagined life will feel, and the more effortlessly it will begin to manifest in your external reality. Doubt will undoubtedly creep in, whispering that your imagination is foolish, that reality is fixed, and that change is impossible. Do not listen. Doubt is the enemy of creation, the voice of limitation that seeks to keep you bound to the status quo. Instead, trust in the power of your imagination. Trust that what you see and feel within is more real than the appearances of the outer world. For the outer world is nothing but a reflection of the inner. When you commit to living from your imagination, you step into the role of creator. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, but the architect of your destiny. You begin to see that life does not happen to you, it happens through you. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to reshape your vision, every setback a chance to refine your image of the future. It may take time for the outer world to catch up with your inner vision, but do not be discouraged. Seeds do not sprout the moment they are planted, yet beneath the surface they are growing, reaching for the light. Your imagined self is the same. Persist in seeing it, feeling it, and believing in it, even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. This persistence is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between imagination and reality. As you continue to rebuild yourself through the power of imagination, you will notice subtle shifts. Your thoughts will become more aligned with your vision, your actions will reflect your new identity, and opportunities will arise seemingly out of nowhere. These are not coincidences, but the natural consequences of your inner transformation. So dare to imagine. Dare to see yourself not as you are, but as you wish to be. Dare to dream a life that feels impossible, and then live as though it is already yours. The power to rebuild yourself is already within you, waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is the courage to close your eyes to the world of facts and open them to the infinite possibilities of your imagination. In doing so, you will discover that you are not only capable of rebuilding yourself, but of creating a life that exceeds your wildest dreams. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to step into the experience of your desired life as though it is already yours. It is not a mere exercise of thought, but an act of living internally in the state of your fulfilled desire. This concept is the key to transformation and the essence of true creation. By assuming the feeling, you align your inner world with the reality you wish to experience, allowing it to manifest naturally in the physical world. Creation begins within you. Your life is a reflection of your inner state, your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. To change your life, you must first change how you feel about it. Feeling is the language of the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is the engine that drives your experiences. It does not question or rationalize, it simply accepts what you consistently feel as true and works to bring it into your reality. Therefore, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to plant the seed of your desire deep in the fertile soil of your subconscious. This process requires that you detach from the present circumstances that may seem contrary to your desires. The external world is merely a reflection of your past states of mind. If you allow yourself to be controlled by what you see and hear, you remain bound to the same patterns. Instead, you must cultivate the ability to close your eyes to the world of appearances and open your mind to the vision of your fulfilled desire. When you do this, you are no longer reacting to the world, you are creating it. Imagine, for example, that you desire greater financial abundance. Begin by closing your eyes and picturing yourself living the life you associate with that abundance. See yourself enjoying the freedom, the opportunities, and the security that wealth brings. But do not stop there. Feel it. Feel the sense of relief, the joy, the gratitude, and the confidence that come with having your desire fulfilled. Let these feelings fill you completely until they become as real as the air you breathe. The feeling is the bridge between your current reality and the one you wish to create. It acts as a magnetic force, drawing to you the circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with your new state. When you feel as though your wish is already fulfilled, you are no longer striving or yearning for it. Instead, you are living from it. This shift is subtle but profound. It transforms your relationship with your desire, turning it from something you hope for into something you already possess. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must train your mind to dwell in the desired state, even when external evidence contradicts it. This requires faith, a deep, unwavering belief in the unseen. Faith is not blind optimism. It is the knowing that what you feel and believe within will inevitably find expression in your life. This faith empowers you to persist, even when doubt arises, or when the world seems unchanged. Doubt is often the greatest obstacle to assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It whispers that your desire is too big, too unrealistic, or too far away. But doubt only has power if you give it attention. When doubt arises, gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that the world outside is only a reflection of your inner state. By staying anchored in the feeling, you neutralize doubt and reinforce your new reality. This practice is not about ignoring the present or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about choosing to focus on the reality you wish to create, rather than being consumed by the one you wish to change. As you persist in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will notice a shift. Your thoughts will align with your new state, your actions will reflect your desired reality, and the world around you will begin to change in ways that seem almost magical. One of the most effective ways to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is through visualization. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and imagine a scene that represents your fulfilled desire. Make it vivid, detailed, and full of life. See the colors, hear the sounds, and most importantly, feel the emotions. For instance, if your desire is to own a home, imagine walking through its rooms, feeling the textures, and basking in the joy of knowing it is yours. Repeat this exercise daily, allowing the feeling to grow stronger with each session. Gratitude is another powerful tool for assuming the feeling. When you feel grateful for your desire as though it has already been fulfilled, you signal to the universe that you trust the process. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, creating a powerful resonance with your desired state. Each day, take a moment to give thanks for the fulfillment of your desire. Feel the gratitude as deeply as you can, and let it flow through every part of your being. This practice requires consistency and discipline. It is not enough to assume the feeling once, and then return to old patterns of thought and emotion. You must persist in living from the state of your fulfilled desire until it becomes second nature. Over time, this new state will solidify and your external world will conform to it. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not waiting for your desire to appear, you are living as though it already has. This is the essence of true creation, knowing that your inner state shapes your outer world, and that the fulfillment of your desire is inevitable. Trust the process, persist in the feeling, and watch as your life transforms in ways that exceed your imagination. To rebuild yourself, you must first release the old identity, the version of you that no longer serves your higher purpose. This is the foundation of transformation, for you cannot build a new life on the remnants of the past. The person you were, shaped by past beliefs, experiences, and limitations, must dissolve to make way for the person you are becoming. Releasing the old identity is not merely a symbolic act, it is a deliberate process of shedding, unlearning, and letting go of all that keeps you tied to a life that feels too small for your soul. Your identity is a collection of stories you have told yourself, often unconsciously. These stories are formed by experiences, societal expectations, and the influence of others. They dictate how you see yourself, how you act, and what you believe you deserve. But just because these stories have been repeated in your mind does not make them true. They are constructs, and like any construct, they can be dismantled. The first step in releasing the old identity is awareness. You must become aware of the thoughts, patterns, and beliefs that define your current self. What do you say about yourself when no one is listening? What limitations do you accept without question? Perhaps you believe you are not talented enough, not worthy of love, or not capable of achieving your dreams. These beliefs are not truths, they are remnants of a self you are ready to outgrow. Once you are aware of these limiting beliefs, you must confront them. Ask yourself, who told me this? Where did this belief come from? Often you will find that these beliefs were imposed upon you by others' parents, teachers, peers, or born out of painful experiences. But the origins of these beliefs are not as important as recognizing that they are no longer valid. They may have served a purpose in the past, perhaps as a form of protection or survival, but they are no longer aligned with who you wish to become. Releasing the old identity requires a willingness to let go of the familiar, even when the familiar feels safe. It is human nature to cling to what we know, even if it causes us pain, because it provides a sense of certainty. But growth demands that you step into the unknown. You must be willing to face the discomfort of change, trusting that the new identity you are creating is worth the temporary unease. One of the most effective ways to release the old identity is to detach from labels. The labels you wear, good or bad, are part of the old self. Perhaps you have labeled yourself as shy, unworthy, or incapable. Or perhaps you have been labeled by others, accepting their definitions of who you are. These labels are not your essence, they are limitations. Begin to see yourself not as a fixed identity, but as a fluid being, capable of infinite change and reinvention. Forgiveness is another powerful tool in releasing the old identity. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you have made, the opportunities you have missed, and the times you have fallen short of your own expectations. These moments do not define you, they are simply lessons on your journey. Forgive others as well, not for their sake but for your own. Holding on to resentment ties you to the past and reinforces the old self. Letting go of resentment is an act of liberation, freeing you to step into the fullness of your potential. As you release the old identity, you may encounter resistance not only from within but also from others. People around you may struggle to accept your transformation, clinging to the version of you they have always known. This is natural, but it is not your burden to bear. You are not obligated to remain the same for the comfort of others. True transformation requires courage, and part of that courage is standing firm in your decision to grow, even when others resist. A practical way to reinforce the release of the old identity is to create rituals of letting go. Write down the beliefs, habits, and patterns you wish to leave behind. Be specific. Then, in a symbolic act, destroy the paper, burn it, tear it, or bury it. As you do, declare your intention to release these aspects of yourself. This ritual is a physical representation of an internal shift, helping your mind and spirit align with your decision. Once you have released the old identity, you must replace it with the vision of your new self. Nature abhors a vacuum, and if you do not fill the void left by the old self, you risk slipping back into familiar patterns. Visualize the person you are becoming, how they think, feel, and act. Begin to embody that version of yourself, even in small ways. Each step you take in alignment with your new identity reinforces the transformation. Understand that releasing the old identity is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. There will be moments when old thoughts resurface, or when you feel the pull of past habits. Do not see this as failure, but as an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment to change. With each moment of choice, you strengthen your new self and weaken the hold of the old. Releasing the old identity is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you are worthy of growth, worthy of change, and worthy of the life you desire. It is a process of peeling away the layers that no longer serve you, revealing the infinite potential that has always been within. Trust this process, for as you let go of who you were, you make space for who you are meant to be. And in that space, miracles happen. Persistence in the new state is the cornerstone of transformation. To step into a new reality, you must remain steadfast in your chosen state of being, regardless of external circumstances or fleeting doubts. The new state, the version of yourself that embodies your desired reality, must become your anchor, your identity, and the place from which you live, think, and act. This is not a passive process, but an active commitment to holding steady in the feeling of your wish fulfilled until it crystallizes into your external world. When you decide to adopt a new state, you are essentially choosing to shift your consciousness. Your current reality is a reflection of your previous states of being, the habitual thoughts, emotions, and beliefs you have entertained. To persist in the new state means to break free from the gravitational pull of the old state, which may still attempt to assert itself. This requires resolve, discipline, and a deep faith in the unseen. The greatest challenge in persisting in the new state is the temptation to revert to the familiar. The old state, with its well-worn patterns and predictable outcomes, can feel comfortable even if it no longer serves you. It may manifest as doubt, fear, or a need for immediate evidence of change. But true transformation requires that you prioritize your inner reality over your outer one. Even when the world around you appears unchanged, you must remain unwavering in your belief that your new state is real and inevitable. Persistence begins with clarity. You must clearly define the new state you wish to embody. Who are you in this state? What does your life look like? How do you feel, think, and behave? The more vividly you can imagine and feel this new state, the easier it becomes to align with it. Clarity is the foundation upon which you build your persistence, as it gives you a specific destination to focus on. Feeling is the key to persistence. It is not enough to think about the new state intellectually, you must feel it emotionally. Feeling creates resonance between your inner world and the reality you desire. So, when you feel as though your desire is already fulfilled, you signal to your subconscious mind that this is your truth. Your subconscious then begins to orchestrate circumstances to align with that truth. This feeling must become a constant companion, a state you return to repeatedly throughout the day. Persistence also requires vigilance. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it can easily drift back into old patterns if left unchecked. Pay attention to your thoughts and emotions, and redirect them when they stray from your desired state. If you find yourself dwelling on doubt or negativity, gently remind yourself of your new reality. Use affirmations, visualization, or moments of stillness to reconnect with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, and your new state becomes the dominant tone of your inner world. The external world often acts as a mirror of your internal state, but it reflects your past states rather than your present efforts. This can be disheartening if you expect immediate results. Understand that the external world operates with a delay. It takes time for your new state to imprint itself onto physical reality. During this period, it is essential to persist, trusting that the changes you seek are already unfolding behind the scenes. Faith is your ally in this process. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking, it is the deep conviction that your inner reality is more real than the outer appearances. When you persist in the new state with faith, you cultivate a sense of certainty that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks or lack of evidence. This faith sustains you during moments of doubt and reinforces your commitment to the new state. Another essential aspect of persistence is detachment. While you hold the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you must also release the need to control how and when it manifests. Detachment does not mean indifference, it means trusting the process and allowing the universe to unfold in its own way. Clinging to specific outcomes or timelines only reinforces a state of lack. By letting go of the how, you open yourself to possibilities far greater than what you could have imagined. Persistence in the new state is not about perfection. There will be moments when old habits resurface or when you feel disconnected from your desired reality. Do not see these moments as failures, they are simply opportunities to realign. Every time you choose to return to your new state, you strengthen its hold on your consciousness and weaken the influence of the old. Persistence is a practice, not a one-time decision. As you persist in the new state, you will begin to notice subtle shifts. Your thoughts will align more naturally with your desired reality, your emotions will stabilize in harmony with it, and your actions will flow effortlessly from it. These shifts may start small, but they are powerful indicators that your transformation is taking root. Celebrate these changes, no matter how minor they seem, as they reinforce your faith and commitment. The beauty of persistence is that it transforms not only your external circumstances but also your sense of self. As you consistently live from your new state, it becomes who you are. You no longer have to try to embody, it becomes your natural way of being. This is the point at which your new reality manifests effortlessly as a reflection of your true self. In persisting in the new state, you are engaging in the most profound act of creation. You are not merely waiting for change, you are becoming the change. This requires patience, discipline, and unwavering belief, but the rewards are immeasurable. When you persist, you align yourself with the infinite potential within you, stepping into a life that is not only desired but also deserved. Trust in this process, and you will discover that persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. Faith in the unseen is the foundation upon which all transformation is built. It is the quiet, unshakable belief in a reality that has not yet materialized, a trust in the intangible forces that shape our lives. This faith is not blind or naive, it is a deliberate choice to align with the deeper truths of existence, where what you hold within your consciousness ultimately defines what you experience in the external world. Faith in the unseen is the bridge between desire and fulfillment, between the imagined and the realized. To possess faith in the unseen is to acknowledge that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. The circumstances you encounter, the relationships you form, and the opportunities that arise are all echoes of your dominant thoughts and feelings. While the outer world appears to be solid and unyielding, it is, in truth, fluid and malleable, shaped by the unseen forces of your imagination and belief. Faith in the unseen means trusting in this process, even when no tangible evidence yet exists to confirm it. One of the greatest challenges in cultivating faith is overcoming the need for immediate proof. The human mind is conditioned to rely on the senses to see, hear, and touch as a way of validating reality. Yet the senses are limited, they perceive only what already exists, not what is possible. Faith requires you to transcend these limitations, to hold fast to a vision of what could be rather than what is. It demands that you trust in the creative power of your thoughts and feelings, knowing that they will eventually manifest in the physical world. Faith in the unseen is not a passive waiting but an active state of being. It is the choice to live as though your desired reality is already true. This means thinking, feeling, and acting in alignment with your vision, even when external circumstances suggest otherwise. For example, if you seek abundance, faith requires you to adopt the mindset of someone who is already abundant, to feel gratitude, generosity, and confidence as though wealth were already yours. If you seek love, faith asks you to embody the qualities of love, kindness, openness, and joy before it appears in your life. Doubt is the greatest enemy of faith. It creeps in when the outer world seems unchanged, whispering that your efforts are in vain and your dreams are unreachable. But doubt is merely a reflection of old patterns and beliefs, remnants of the past that no longer serve you. Faith is the antidote to doubt, a declaration that you trust the unseen forces working on your behalf. even when the evidence is not yet visible. To sustain faith, you must cultivate a deep sense of inner conviction, a knowing that transcends logic and reason. The power of faith lies in its ability to shift your vibration. Everything in the universe operates on frequency, and your thoughts and feelings emit a signal that attracts corresponding experiences. When you maintain faith in the unseen, you align your vibration with your desired reality, creating a resonance that draws it closer. This alignment is subtle but profound, influencing the people, events, and opportunities that come into your life. Faith is the energetic signature of belief, the invisible thread that weaves your desires into existence. Faith in the unseen also requires patience. The unfolding of your desires follows a divine timing that often differs from your own. This timing is not arbitrary but precise, ensuring that what you seek arrives when you are truly ready to receive it. Impatience is a sign of mistrust, an attempt to force or control the process. Faith, on the other hand, is a surrender to the natural flow of creation, a willingness to allow the universe to work in its own perfect way. Trust that the delays you experience are not denials, but preparations for something greater. One of the most profound aspects of faith in the unseen is its transformative effect on the individual. When you choose faith, you step into a higher state of consciousness, one that is free from fear, doubt, and limitation. Faith expands your perception, allowing you to see possibilities where before you saw obstacles. It strengthens your resilience, enabling you to persist in the face of challenges. Most importantly, it reconnects you to the infinite power within you, the power to create, to heal, and to transform. Faith in the unseen is not something you cultivate once and then forget. It is a daily practice, a choice you make moment by moment. Life will test your faith, presenting you with circumstances that seem to contradict your desires. These tests are not meant to discourage you, but to strengthen your resolve. Each time you choose faith over fear, you reinforce your connection to the unseen forces of creation and deepen your trust in the process. To live with faith in the unseen is to live with courage. It is the courage to believe in your own worthiness, to trust in the goodness of life, and to hold fast to your vision, even when the path is unclear. It is the courage to release control, to surrender to a higher intelligence, and to embrace the mystery of the unknown. Faith is not a sign of weakness but of strength, for it requires you to stand firm in your truth, despite the ever-changing tides of the external world. Faith in the unseen is an act of love for yourself, love for the possibilities of life, and love for the divine force that connects all things. It is a recognition that you are not separate from the source of creation, but an integral part of it. When you hold faith in the unseen, you align with this truth, stepping into the role of a conscious creator. You become a vessel through which miracles can flow, not because you have seen them with your eyes, but because you have believed in them with your heart. Silencing the doubts that arise within your mind is essential for creating the life you desire. Doubts are the voices of fear, insecurity, and past conditioning. They are the echoes of old beliefs that no longer serve you, arising when you dare to imagine a reality beyond what you've known. Yet these doubts hold no true power over you unless you choose to give them your attention and belief. To silence them is not to suppress or ignore them, but to master them, transforming them from obstacles into stepping stones on your journey to fulfillment. Doubt is natural in the process of change. When you set your sights on something new, your mind often clings to the familiar, resisting the unknown. This resistance manifests as doubt, questioning your worthiness, your capabilities, or the likelihood of success. But understand, this doubt is not truth. It is merely a reflection of old patterns and limited perspectives. It arises from a mind conditioned to see only what has already occurred, blind to the infinite possibilities of the present moment. To silence doubt, you must first recognize its nature. Doubt thrives on fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of disappointment. It is a protective mechanism designed to keep you within the boundaries of your comfort zone. While this might seem like self-preservation, it often prevents you from growing, evolving, and experiencing the life you truly desire. By acknowledging doubt for what it is, a habitual response, not an inherent truth, you take the first step toward neutralizing its influence. Your imagination is the antidote to doubt. The mind cannot hold two opposing beliefs at once. When doubt whispers its limitations, you must counter it with the vivid, unwavering vision of your desired reality. Close your eyes and immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the joy, peace, and satisfaction of already having what you seek. This act of imagining is not a mere distraction, it is a deliberate realignment of your focus from what you fear to what you believe is possible. The more you practice this, the weaker doubt becomes, overshadowed by the strength of your vision. Doubt often feeds on evidence from the outer world. When you see no immediate change, or when circumstances seem contrary to your desires, doubt seizes the opportunity to grow. This is why it is crucial to prioritize your inner reality over the outer. Understand that the external world is a lagging indicator, reflecting your previous thoughts and feelings rather than your current intentions. By remaining steadfast in your inner belief, regardless of external appearances, you starve doubt of the validation it craves. Affirmations are a powerful tool for silencing doubt. They serve as declarations of your truth, statements that affirm your desired reality as though it were already here. When doubt arises, repeat affirmations that align with your vision. I am capable. I am worthy. My desires are unfolding perfectly. Speak these words, not as empty phrases, but with conviction, allowing them to resonate deeply within you. Over time, these affirmations reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing doubt with confidence and certainty. Another essential practice in silencing doubt is mindfulness. Doubt often thrives in a mind that is scattered, constantly replaying past failures or worrying about future outcomes. Mindfulness grounds you in the present moment, where doubt has no foothold. Through practices such as meditation or simply taking deep, conscious breaths, you can quiet the mental chatter and reconnect with the stillness within. In this stillness, the voice of doubt fades, revealing the clarity and wisdom of your true self. Action is a potent remedy for doubt. Often, doubt paralyzes you, keeping you from taking the steps necessary to bring your desires to life. But action, no matter how small, builds momentum and reinforces belief. Each step you take toward your goal, even in the face of uncertainty, is a declaration of faith. With every action, you gather evidence of your capability and power, gradually silencing the voice of doubt with the undeniable proof of your progress. It is also important to guard your mental environment. Surround yourself with people, ideas, and influences that uplift and inspire you. Doubt thrives in negativity, feeding on criticism and pessimism. Seek out those who encourage your dreams, who believe in your vision, and who remind you of your potential. Consume content that aligns with the reality you wish to create. Books, speeches, or conversations that reinforce your faith in yourself and the possibilities of life. Compassion for yourself is key in this process. There will be times when doubt feels overwhelming, when it seems to drown out your vision and shake your belief. In these moments, do not berate yourself for feeling uncertain. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and patience, understanding that doubt is part of the journey. Remind yourself that even the most confident individuals face doubt. What sets them apart is their willingness to persist despite it. Trust in the unseen forces that support you. Whether you call it the universe, divine intelligence, or your higher self, know that there is a power greater than doubt at work in your life. This power responds to your faith, your persistence, and your willingness to step beyond fear. When you align with it, doubt loses its grip, overshadowed by the infinite potential that flows through you. Silencing doubt is not about eliminating it entirely, it is about refusing to let it dictate your actions or beliefs. It is about choosing to believe in yourself and your vision, even when the path ahead seems unclear. With each moment of persistence, each act of faith, you weaken the hold of doubt and strengthen your connection to the life you are creating. Doubt may whisper, but your truth can roar louder. Trust in that truth and let it guide you toward the fulfillment of your deepest desires. To act from the future rather than the past is to step into the realm of creation. It is a conscious choice to align yourself with the reality you desire, rather than being tethered to the limitations of what has already occurred. Most people live their lives reacting to their past old memories, mistakes, and beliefs dictate their present actions and decisions. Yet the power to transform your life lies in recognizing that you are not bound by your past. Instead, you can choose to embody the version of yourself that already exists in the future you desire, allowing that vision to shape your actions in the present moment. Acting from the future requires a shift in perception. The mind often clings to the familiar, because it equates the known with safety. This is why so many find themselves repeating the same patterns, unable to break free from cycles of doubt, fear, or limitation. But the future you long for does not lie in the repetition of the past. It is born from new thoughts, new emotions, and new actions. To act from the future means imagining yourself already living in the reality you wish to create, and allowing that vision to guide your every step. The key to acting from the future is to identify with it fully. This means letting go of the identity that ties you to past experiences and embracing the identity of the person you desire to become. If you seek to be successful, begin to think, feel, and behave as a successful person would. If you desire love, embody the qualities of someone who is deeply loved and loving. This is not pretense or wishful thinking, it is a deliberate act of creation. By aligning your present actions with your future self, you set into motion the forces that will bring your vision into reality. Your imagination is the bridge between your present and your future. When you vividly imagine yourself living your desired life, you are not merely daydreaming, you are accessing a higher level of consciousness where all possibilities exist. Close your eyes and see yourself already in possession of what you seek. Feel the emotions associated with that reality: joy, confidence, peace, or love. These feelings are the magnetic forces that draw your future into your present. The more you dwell in the state of your future self, the more your actions will naturally align with that reality. Acting from the future also requires a conscious decision to release the weight of the past. The past can feel like a heavy anchor, keeping you stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. Perhaps you've been conditioned to believe that certain dreams are unattainable, or that your worth is determined by past failures. But these beliefs are illusions. The past has no power except the power you give it. To act from the future, you must forgive yourself and others for past mistakes, release regret, and free yourself from the narrative that you are limited by what has been. One of the challenges of acting from the future is overcoming the doubt and fear that arise when your current circumstances seem far removed from your desired reality. The outer world may try to convince you that change is impossible or that your dreams are unrealistic. But remember, the outer world is merely a reflection of your past inner state. It is not a predictor of your future. Trust in the unseen forces that respond to your intentions. Act as if your future is already here, even when external evidence is lacking. Your consistent belief and action will eventually align your outer world with your inner vision. Patience is a vital aspect of acting from the future. The process of creation unfolds in divine timing, often requiring you to persist in your belief and actions even when results are not immediate. Impatience is a sign of doubt, a signal that you are still tied to the idea that the present circumstances hold more power than your vision. Trust that every step you take from the perspective of your future self is a step closer to realizing that future. The seeds you plant today will bear fruit in due time. Acting from the future does not mean ignoring the present moment. On the contrary, it requires deep awareness and presence. It is about consciously choosing how you respond to your current circumstances, ensuring that your responses align with your desired reality rather than your old patterns. Each moment presents an opportunity to act from a place of creation rather than reaction. By doing so, you reinforce your connection to your future self and strengthen the bridge between your current and desired realities. Surround yourself with influences that support your vision. The environment you immerse yourself in can either reinforce your past or inspire your future. Seek out people, ideas, and experiences that reflect the reality you wish to create. When you expose yourself to these influences, you train your mind to see possibilities rather than limitations. This practice strengthens your ability to act from the future, as it keeps your vision alive and vibrant in your consciousness. To act from the future is to trust in your inherent power to create. It is a declaration that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but the architect of your reality. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desired future, you bring that future into the present. This is not magic or wishful thinking, it is the natural law of creation. You become what you believe yourself to be. Act from the future, not the past, and watch as your life transforms to match the vision you hold within. Gratitude for the present moment is a profound practice that unlocks the fullness of life. It is the conscious choice to appreciate what is here and now, not as a result of circumstances, but as an acknowledgement of the inherent abundance within and around you. Gratitude is not merely about listing things you are thankful for. It is a shift in awareness, a deep connection to the present that allows you to see the beauty, value, and opportunities that exist even in the simplest moments. When you cultivate gratitude, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance. The world around you becomes a reflection of this inner state, offering you more to be grateful for. Gratitude is not dependent on what you have or lack. It is a state of being, independent of conditions. It invites you to stop waiting for some future event or possession to feel fulfilled, and instead opens your eyes to the richness of what already exists. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. The human mind is often drawn to lack, constantly identifying what is wrong or incomplete. This focus creates feelings of frustration, dissatisfaction, and longing. But when you choose gratitude, you redirect your attention to what is already working in your life. This shift transforms your energy, moving you from a state of need to a state of fulfillment. By appreciating what you have now, you signal to the universe that you are ready to receive more. But the present moment is all you truly have, and gratitude anchors you to it. The past is a memory, the future a projection, only the now is real. Gratitude deepens your connection to this reality, reminding you that life unfolds in the here and now. When you embrace the present with gratitude, you become more aware of the small blessings that often go unnoticed: the warmth of the sun, the breath flowing through your body, the presence of a loved one. These seemingly ordinary moments take on extraordinary meaning when seen through the lens of gratitude. Also transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. Life is not without its struggles, and it is easy to fall into despair when faced with difficulties. Yet even in the midst of adversity, there is something to be grateful for. Challenges teach resilience, reveal inner strength, and often lead to unexpected blessings. When you approach hardship with gratitude, you shift your perspective from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. You begin to see that every experience, no matter how painful, carries a lesson or a gift. This practice of gratitude also nurtures inner peace. The constant striving for more success, more possessions, more recognition creates a sense of restlessness and inadequacy. Gratitude quiets this yearning, replacing it with contentment. It reminds you that you are enough, that your life is enough as it is in this moment. This does not mean you stop aspiring or growing. Rather, it means you approach your desires from a place of abundance rather than lack. It is a bridge to connection, deepening your relationships with others. When you express genuine gratitude to the people in your life, you strengthen your bonds and foster mutual appreciation. Gratitude allows you to see the good in others, focusing on their positive qualities rather than their flaws. It opens your heart, making you more compassionate and understanding. This simple act of acknowledging the contributions of others enriches both your life and theirs, creating a ripple effect of positivity. A daily gratitude practice can be transformative. Begin and end your day by reflecting on what you are grateful for. This need not be a grand or time-consuming ritual. Even a few moments of sincere reflection can shift your energy. Write down 3 things you appreciate about your day, or silently express gratitude for the blessings in your life. Over time, this practice rewires your brain, training it to seek out the good in every situation. What you focus on expands, and gratitude ensures that your focus remains on abundance. Gratitude is also a powerful force in manifestation. When you express gratitude for your desires as though they are already fulfilled, you align yourself with the energy of receiving. This practice strengthens your belief in the reality of your vision and signals to the universe your readiness to embrace it. Gratitude bridges the gap between the present and the future, allowing you to act as though your desires are already yours. This attitude of gratitude accelerates the process of manifestation, drawing your dreams into your reality. It is important to note that gratitude is not about denying pain or pretending that everything is perfect. Life is a balance of joys and sorrows, and both have their place. Gratitude does not ask you to ignore the difficulties you face, but to look for the light within them. It is a recognition that even in darkness, there is something to be thankful for, a lesson, a moment of clarity, or the strength to persevere. Gratitude is not a denial of reality, but a deeper engagement with it. As you cultivate gratitude for the present, you begin to notice how rich your life already is. The practice shifts your energy, bringing you into alignment with joy, abundance, and peace. It opens your eyes to the countless blessings that surround you, reminding you that you are always supported, always provided for. Gratitude transforms your perspective, your energy, and ultimately your life. It is not just an emotion, but a way of being, a sacred acknowledgement of the beauty of the present moment. In embracing gratitude, we uncover the profound truth that life's beauty and abundance are always within our reach, no matter our circumstances. By shifting our focus from lack to fulfillment, from yearning to appreciation, we transform not only our outlook but our entire experience of reality. Gratitude anchors us in the present, the only moment where life truly unfolds, and it empowers us to see challenges as opportunities, relationships as blessings, and the ordinary as extraordinary. Let us choose to live each day with hearts open to gratitude, for it is through this practice that we align ourselves with peace, joy, and abundance. Gratitude is the lens through which we see the perfection of our lives, not in their absence of struggle, but in the presence of infinite possibilities. By making gratitude a way of life, we enrich ourselves, uplift those around us, and invite a future filled with even greater blessings. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of gratitude. May your journey forward be filled with appreciation, peace, and the fulfillment of all your desires. My friends, to call on God is to awaken the truth of your being. It is not a plea to some distant deity, but an intimate communion with the eternal presence within you. To truly understand how to call on God, you must first recognize an extraordinary truth: God dwells within you. This revelation is the foundation upon which all spiritual transformation rests. It is not a poetic metaphor or a comforting idea, it is an immutable reality. The divine presence is not some far-off entity in the heavens, watching your life from a distance. It is the very essence of your being, closer to you than your own breath. When you look outward for God, you miss the most profound aspect of His nature. Searching for answers in the external world leads only to confusion and frustration. The miracles, the power, and the wisdom you seek are already within you, waiting to be realized. This inner presence is not a fragment of God, but the fullness of Him expressed through your consciousness. To awaken to this truth is to recognize your divine nature and the limitless potential that comes with it. God within you means that the creative power of the universe resides in the depths of your soul. Every thought, every desire, and every dream are infused with divine energy. When you imagine something, you are not merely entertaining a passing idea. You are activating this divine presence to bring forth the reality you envision. This is why the imagination is sacred. It is the tool through which God expresses His power in your life. Think about the implications of this truth. If God truly dwells within you, then there is nothing you lack. The peace you seek, the love you desire, the abundance you crave, all of it is already yours in potential. The only thing required is for you to acknowledge this reality and align yourself with it. This alignment begins with a change in perception. Instead of seeing yourself as separate from God, recognize that you are one with Him, an extension of His infinite being. To call on God, then is not to reach outward but to turn inward. It is to silence the noise of the world and listen to the still, small voice within. This voice is not always loud or commanding. It is subtle, gentle, and unwavering. It speaks through your intuition, your desires, and your imagination. When you feel a deep longing for something, that is God stirring within you, guiding you toward the fulfillment of your highest potential. But how often do we ignore this inner presence? We search for answers in the opinions of others, in external circumstances, or in fleeting distractions. We assume that the solutions to our problems lie outside of us, when in reality everything we need is already present within. The act of calling on God is a return to this inner source. It is a remembrance of who you truly are, a being created in the image of the divine, endowed with the same creative power that formed the universe. There is a profound sense of peace that comes from this understanding. When you know that God dwells within you, you no longer feel the need to strive, struggle, or beg for what you desire. Instead, you approach life with a quiet confidence, knowing that you are supported by an infinite power. This does not mean you sit idly by and wait for things to happen. It means you act from a place of trust, guided by the inner assurance that the divine presence is working through you to bring your desires to fruition. This inner connection to God also means that you are never alone. No matter how difficult your circumstances may appear, no matter how isolated you may feel, the presence of God within you remains constant. In moments of doubt or despair, you can turn inward and find solace in this truth. The world may change, people may come and go, but the divine presence within you is eternal and unchanging. To live with the awareness that God dwells within you is to live a life of empowerment. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a creator of your reality. You understand that your thoughts and beliefs shape the world around you, and you take responsibility for aligning them with the divine vision within you. This is not a burden but a privilege, for it allows you to co-create with God the life you were meant to live. When you truly embrace this truth, prayer takes on a new meaning. It is no longer a desperate plea to an external deity, but a loving conversation with the divine presence within. You speak to God as you would to a trusted friend, knowing that He hears you because He is a part of you. And when you listen in return, you hear His guidance, not in words but in the quiet convictions of your heart. The realization that God dwells within you is the key to unlocking the fullness of life. It transforms the way you see yourself, others, and the world around you. You begin to recognize the divine not only within yourself, but in everyone and everything. This awareness fosters compassion, gratitude, and a deep sense of purpose. So today, remember this truth: God is not distant or separate from you. He is the essence of your being, the source of your imagination, and the power behind your every prayer. To call on Him is to awaken to this divine presence within, to align yourself with His will, and to live in the joy of His infinite love. Faith is the bridge that connects your desires to their fulfillment, the invisible thread that links the seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual. When you call on God, it is faith that activates the process, breathing life into your words and thoughts. Without faith, your call is empty, a hollow sound that dissipates in the vastness of doubt. But with faith, even the smallest whisper carries the weight of the divine, setting into motion forces that work tirelessly to bring your desires into reality. Faith is not hope, nor is it wishful thinking. Hope looks forward, but faith declares that the future is already here. Faith does not waver or question. It knows with absolute certainty that what has been asked for is already granted. This certainty is not dependent on what the eyes see or what the ears hear. Faith moves beyond the physical senses and rests in the conviction of the unseen. It is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you call on God, you are not making a request to a distant power. You are affirming that the power of creation itself is already at work within you. Faith is the force that ignites this power, transforming a simple call into a divine command. It is not about begging or pleading, it is about claiming and believing. When you have faith, you are not asking if something is possible, you are declaring that it is already done. This activation of faith begins within your mind. Every thought carries energy, and thoughts born of faith carry the highest vibration. When you align your thoughts with what you desire and believe it to be true, you align yourself with the divine will. This alignment is what activates your call. It is not about forcing or controlling the outcome, it is about trusting the process and allowing the divine to work through you. Doubt, on the other hand, is the enemy of faith. It is the silent thief that undermines your call and delays your blessings. Doubt arises when you rely too heavily on external circumstances, when you allow what you see to dictate what you believe. But faith moves in the opposite direction. It begins with belief, independent of external evidence, and reshapes the world to match that belief. To activate your call through faith, you must let go of doubt and trust that the divine is already at work, even if you cannot yet see the results. Faith is not passive, it requires action. This action is not necessarily physical but mental and emotional. It is the act of maintaining your belief even when circumstances seem contrary. It is the act of imagining your desire as fulfilled, feeling the emotions of joy and gratitude as if it has already happened. These acts of faith are what sustain the power of your call and keep it alive until the unseen becomes seen. Gratitude is a natural extension of faith. When you give thanks for something before it manifests, you are expressing your belief that it is already done. This gratitude is a powerful force, amplifying your faith and reinforcing your call. It shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from waiting to receiving. Gratitude is the language of faith, and when you speak it, you affirm that your call has been heard and answered. Faith also requires persistence. The fulfillment of your call may not come immediately, and this is where many falter. They give up too soon, allowing doubt to creep in and dismantle their belief. But faith persists, holding steadfast even in the face of delay. It trusts in the timing of the divine, knowing that what is meant to be will unfold perfectly, at the right time and in the right way. Persistence in faith is not about forcing the outcome, but about staying aligned with the belief that it is already yours. Calling on God with faith is an act of co-creation. You are not waiting passively for something to happen, you are an active participant in the process. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape the outcome, just as a potter shapes clay. Faith is the tool that molds the unseen into form, turning your desires into tangible reality. It is through faith that you exercise the creative power of the divine within you, bringing your vision to life. Faith is deeply personal. It cannot be borrowed from others or imposed upon you. It is something you cultivate within yourself through reflection, practice, and experience. Each time you act in faith and see your call answered, your belief grows stronger. This inner growth is the foundation of a life lived in harmony with the divine. To call on God with faith is to step into a state of absolute trust and certainty. It is to recognize that the power of creation is already at work within you, responding to your thoughts, your words, and your feelings. It is to know that you are not separate from the divine, but an integral part of its infinite expression. Faith is the key that unlocks the door to this realization, allowing you to access the fullness of your potential. So when you call on God, do so with faith. Do not let doubt or fear weaken your call. Stand firm in your belief, knowing that what you seek is already yours. Trust in the process, give thanks in advance, and persist in your faith. The divine hears your call, and through faith, you activate the limitless power within you to bring it to life. The imagination is far more than a tool for fleeting daydreams or idle fantasies. It is the sacred gateway to the divine, the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the doorway through which creation flows. When you engage your imagination, you tap into the infinite power within you, the power to shape your reality, transform your circumstances, and call into existence the life you desire. The imagination is not a mere faculty of the mind, it is the very mechanism by which the divine expresses itself through you. When you close your eyes and envision something, you are not simply picturing an image in your mind. You are engaging the creative force that has brought everything into existence. The mountains, the stars, the oceans, all of these began in the imagination of the Creator, and you, made in His image, possess the same divine ability. Every thought you vividly imagine and consistently dwell upon sets into motion unseen forces, aligning the universe to bring that thought into reality. Your imagination is not bound by the limitations of the physical world. It is a realm of pure potential, where time and space hold no sway. In your imagination, you are free to explore the infinite, to see beyond what your physical senses reveal. This freedom is your greatest gift, for it allows you to transcend the constraints of your current circumstances and step into the life you wish to create. The key is to recognize that what you imagine with conviction and emotional intensity is not merely a vision of what could be, it is a preview of what is already real in the unseen realm. Doubt often arises when the physical world appears unchanged despite your inner vision. But the imagination operates in a realm beyond the physical, and its effects may not always be immediately visible. Just as seeds planted in the soil take time to sprout and grow, the seeds you plant in your imagination require faith and persistence to bear fruit. It is not your job to question how or when your vision will manifest. Your role is simply to trust in the process and remain steadfast in your imagination. Your emotions are the fuel that powers your imagination. When you imagine something with indifference or skepticism, the energy behind it is weak and its chances of manifesting diminish. But when you imagine with excitement, gratitude, and unwavering belief, you infuse your vision with the energy it needs to take form. Feel the joy of having what you desire, the peace of being where you want to be, and the gratitude for all that you have created. These emotions elevate your imagination to a level where it becomes a powerful force for change. Many underestimate the imagination, dismissing it as mere fantasy. But the world you see around you is the result of someone's imagination. Every invention, every work of art, every achievement began as a thought, a vision in someone's mind. What sets those who create extraordinary lives apart is their willingness to believe in the power of their imagination and to act upon it with conviction. They understand that the imagination is not a passive force, but an active gateway to transformation. When challenges arise, it is easy to fall back into patterns of fear, doubt, and limitation. But these moments are when your imagination becomes most important. Instead of focusing on the problem, use your imagination to see the solution. Instead of dwelling on what is lacking, imagine abundance. Instead of replaying the story of your failures, envision your triumphs. Your imagination allows you to rewrite the narrative of your life, to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as the creator of your destiny. This power of imagination is not reserved for a select few. It is inherent in everyone, a divine gift that lies dormant until you choose to awaken it. The only difference between those who live extraordinary lives and those who do not is the willingness to use this gift consciously. When you realize that your imagination is the gateway to all that you desire, you begin to approach life with a sense of wonder and possibility. No longer do you see obstacles as insurmountable, you see them as opportunities to expand your vision and deepen your faith. The imagination requires practice to reach its full potential. Like any skill, it becomes stronger and more effective the more you use it. Begin by setting aside time each day to engage your imagination deliberately. Close your eyes and picture the life you want to live. See it in vivid detail, as though it were already real. Feel the emotions associated with that life, the joy, the gratitude, the peace. The more you practice, the more natural this process will become, and the more powerfully your imagination will work on your behalf. To speak from the end is to step into the world of creation with a profound understanding of its nature. It is the act of claiming what you desire as though it has already come to pass, of living in the state of fulfillment before it appears in your external reality. This principle is not rooted in wishful thinking or pretense, but in the recognition that everything begins and ends within you. The moment you imagine your desire as fulfilled, you bring it into being. The only question is whether you will persist in that conviction long enough for it to manifest in the physical world. When you speak from the end, you align yourself with the truth that creation is finished. All possibilities already exist, waiting for you to call them into your experience through your thoughts, feelings, and words. You are not asking for something to be done, you are affirming that it is done. This shift in perspective transforms your relationship with life, placing you in the position of authority rather than one of lack or need. Speaking from the end is an act of faith, a declaration that you trust the unseen to become seen. Many struggle with this concept because they are conditioned to rely on their senses. They look at their current circumstances and see evidence of lack, limitation, or delay. But to speak from the end is to rise above the evidence of the senses and operate from a higher truth. It is to declare, I am wealthy even when your bank account suggests otherwise. It is to say, I am loved even when you feel alone. By speaking from the end, you assert that your inner reality determines your outer reality, not the other way around. This practice requires more than words. It demands that you embody the feeling of your desire as already fulfilled. Words alone, if empty of conviction, lack the power to create. But when your words are infused with emotion and belief, they become a force that shapes reality. To say I am and truly feel it is to call forth the essence of what you declare. The feeling is the secret, it is the energy that bridges the gap between imagination and manifestation. Speaking from the end is not about ignoring reality or denying the present. It is about transcending it. Your present circumstances are not the final word on your life, they are merely a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. To change them, you must first change your inner state. By speaking from the end, you align your mind and emotions with the reality you wish to create, allowing it to unfold naturally in your experience. Doubt often arises when you do not see immediate results. But this is where persistence comes into play. Creation follows a process, and the timing of manifestation is not always predictable. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your desires require patience and faith to come to fruition. When you speak from the end, you must remain steadfast, even in the face of delay or opposition. Trust that what you have claimed is already on its way, and do not waver in your conviction. Gratitude is a powerful companion to speaking from the end. When you give thanks for something as though it has already been received, you reinforce your belief in its reality. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from waiting to receiving. It creates a sense of certainty and joy that aligns you with the fulfillment of your desire. By expressing gratitude in advance, you accelerate the process of manifestation and deepen your connection to the end result. Silence is often overlooked in a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and the perpetual hum of activity. Yet, in the quiet, profound things occur, things that cannot be understood by the senses, only experienced in stillness. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, but the presence of a sacred channel through which divine insight, creativity, and manifestation flow. It is within this silence that we connect to the deepest parts of ourselves, and through it, we align with the larger forces of the universe. This sacred channel of silence is also a space of creation. When we are caught in the noise of daily life, we are often too distracted to recognize the desires of our heart. We may find ourselves pursuing goals or making decisions based on external pressures or societal expectations rather than following our true path. But in silence, we reconnect with our innermost desires. We are able to hear the calling of our soul, to discern what truly matters, and to align our actions with our purpose. In this quiet space, we create the blueprint of our future, not by striving or pushing, but by allowing the vision to unfold naturally from within. It is within the sacred silence that we also come to realize our inherent power. The world often encourages us to look outside of ourselves for validation or answers, but true strength is found within. Silence allows us to recognize that we are not separate from the universe, we are an integral part of it. In this stillness, we experience the interconnectedness of all things, the flow of energy that connects us to everything around us. It is in the quiet that we tap into the divine wisdom that exists within us and recognize that we are always supported by the universe, even when we cannot see the path ahead. When practiced consistently, also cultivates peace. In a world that often feels chaotic and turbulent, silence acts as an anchor, grounding us in a space of calm. It is easy to become swept up in the noise of the world, its demands, its fears, its distractions. But silence reminds us that peace is always available to us, regardless of external circumstances. When we create space for silence, we reconnect with the part of ourselves that is already whole, already at peace, and able to navigate the storms of life with equanimity. Silence invites us to be present. In a world obsessed with the future and the past, we often forget to fully experience the present moment. We may be physically present, but mentally absent, lost in thoughts about what has happened or what might come. Silence calls us back to the present, to the now. It invites us to be fully aware of the sensations, feelings and thoughts that arise in this moment, without judgment or distraction. Through silence, we cultivate mindfulness, learning to live in the moment and experience life as it unfolds, rather than constantly chasing after the next thing. Silence invites us into a state of surrender. We live in a culture that values control, action, and doing. But silence teaches us that sometimes the greatest power lies in letting go. In the silence, we release the need to control every aspect of our lives, to plan every detail, and to force outcomes. We surrender to the flow of life, trusting that the universe has a plan for us, even when we cannot see it. This surrender does not mean passivity, rather, it is a surrender to the wisdom of the universe, a recognition that we are co-creators with the divine. To embrace silence is to open the door to profound transformation. It is a space where the noise of the world fades away and the truth of who we are rises to the surface. Silence is a sacred channel that connects us to the divine, to our inner wisdom, and to the flow of creation itself. In this space of stillness, we find clarity, peace, purpose, and power. It is in silence that we hear the whispers of our heart and the guidance of the universe. And it is in silence that we come to know the profound truth that everything we seek is already within us. Gratitude is a powerful force that can transform your life in ways you might not fully comprehend at first. It is not just a polite gesture or a social nicety, it is a profound tool for creating positive change in your internal world and consequently in your external circumstances. When you adopt gratitude as a way of being, it opens the door to abundance, joy, and fulfillment. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. And this shift in perspective changes everything. At its core, gratitude is the recognition of the goodness that already exists in your life. It's not about waiting for circumstances to improve or for external situations to change. It's about tuning into the present moment and acknowledging the blessings, big and small, that are already around you. Often we become so focused on our desires and unmet needs that we overlook the many ways in which we are already supported, loved, and cared for. Gratitude reminds us to stop and look at the present moment, to appreciate what we have, and to honor the beauty that already exists in our lives. When you practice gratitude, you are choosing to shift your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. In our society, we are often taught to focus on what we don't have, what we need, and what is missing from our lives. This mindset keeps us trapped in the cycle of dissatisfaction and longing, never feeling truly content with what we have. But when you make gratitude a habit, you start to notice the abundance that already surrounds you. You realize that you are already rich in so many ways in your relationships, in your health, in your opportunities, and in your capacity for joy. This recognition brings peace to your heart and opens the door for more good to enter your life. Gratitude also serves as a powerful tool for reprogramming your subconscious mind. The thoughts we entertain on a daily basis shape our reality, and when we focus on the things we are grateful for, we align ourselves with positive energy and vibrations. Our minds begin to recognize the good that is constantly available to us, and this reinforces the feeling of abundance. Gratitude shifts our attention away from negativity and fear, replacing those low vibration states with higher energies that attract more positive experiences. When you focus on gratitude, you begin to magnetize more of the same into your life. What you appreciate, appreciates. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is its ability to bring healing. Life can be challenging, and it's easy to become consumed by pain, disappointment, or loss. However, when you practice gratitude, You begin to see that even in the midst of hardship, there are things to be grateful for. Gratitude helps you find meaning in your struggles and teaches you to look for the lessons in every experience. It opens your heart to forgiveness, both yourself and others, and allows you to release resentment, fear, and anger. When you choose gratitude, you choose healing over hurt, growth over stagnation, and love over fear. Gratitude also strengthens your relationships. When you express gratitude to the people in your life, you not only make them feel valued, but you also strengthen the bond between you. Gratitude is a powerful form of acknowledgement. It shows others that you see and appreciate them for who they are and what they bring into your life. It also deepens your connection with yourself as you begin to recognize the support, care, and love you have received from others. Practicing gratitude opens the lines of communication and creates an atmosphere of mutual respect and appreciation. When gratitude is present in a relationship, it fosters trust, love, and understanding. Gratitude allows you to embrace the present moment fully. We often spend so much time worrying about the future or ruminating over the past that we miss the beauty of the present. But when we take time each day to reflect on what we are grateful for, we become more attuned to the here and now. Gratitude forces us to slow down and take stock of the blessings in our lives, no matter how small they may seem. Whether it's the warmth of the sun on your face, a kind word from a friend, or the comfort of a home, gratitude brings us into the present moment and allows us to savor life's simple joys. When you are grateful, you also invite more joy into your life. Gratitude is closely linked with happiness because it is an active form of appreciation. The more you focus on what is good in your life, the more you attract joy and positive energy. It lifts your mood and encourages a mindset of possibility rather than limitation. When you express gratitude, you open your heart to the experience of joy, and this joy becomes a magnet for more joyful experiences. It shifts your energy from scarcity to abundance, and in that shift you begin to notice how much more you have to be thankful for. A deep sense of gratitude can also be a key to resilience. Life is not without its difficulties, and there are times when we face challenges that feel overwhelming. However, gratitude provides the strength and perspective needed to endure those difficult times. When you can still find something to be grateful for, even in the face of adversity, you tap into a source of inner strength. Gratitude becomes a source of power that allows you to rise above your circumstances and find peace, even in the midst of chaos. It shifts your focus from what is wrong to what is right, empowering you to face challenges with courage and optimism. Gratitude is not just something to be practiced in moments of ease, it is something that can be cultivated even during times of difficulty. It is a choice, and like any choice, it takes practice. But when gratitude becomes a daily habit, it transforms your life. It rewires your brain to focus on the good, increases your emotional well-being, and aligns you with abundance. The more you practice gratitude, the more you recognize how much there is to be thankful for, and the more your life begins to reflect that abundance. Gratitude is truly the key that unlocks the door to a richer, more fulfilling life, and it is always within your reach. All it requires is your willingness to recognize and appreciate the goodness that is already present. Persistence is a force that can break through barriers, shatter limitations, and transform dreams into reality. It is the key that unlocks the door to success, growth, and personal fulfillment. Life is filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but it is persistence, the unwavering commitment to keep going, that separates those who achieve greatness from those who fall short. When you persist, you send a message to the universe that you are not easily deterred, that you are willing to push through difficulty and remain steadfast in your pursuit of what you desire. Persistence requires resilience. It is the ability to keep moving forward even when progress seems slow or non-existent. Every person who has ever achieved something significant has encountered obstacles along the way. The road to success is not linear, and it is not without its bumps. Yet it is the person who persists through adversity that finds the breakthroughs and triumphs that others might only dream of. In every challenge lies an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable, and persistence is what gives you the strength to rise after every fall. One of the greatest aspects of persistence is that it builds character. It teaches you to stand firm in the face of uncertainty and to trust in your own abilities, even when the outcome is unclear. Every time you push through a difficult situation, you build confidence and self-belief. You begin to understand that success is not defined by how many times you fall, but by how many times you get back up. Each failure, each setback is an opportunity to learn, to adjust your approach, and to become better. Persistence is the tool that allows you to refine your skills, improve your strategies, and continue moving forward, even when the world seems to be working against you. Persistence also fosters patience. In a world that values instant gratification, it is easy to become discouraged when things don't happen quickly. We want results now, and when those results don't come right away, frustration sets in. But persistence teaches us that success is often a slow and steady process. It teaches us to trust that the effort we put in today will yield results in the future. Just as a seed requires time, water, and care to grow into a tree, so too does our hard work need time to bear fruit. Through persistence, we learn the art of patience, the understanding that true success comes to those who are willing to stay the course and allow things to unfold naturally. Persistence is also an act of faith. When you persist in your goals, you are demonstrating trust in the process. You may not see immediate results, but you continue anyway because you believe in the outcome. It requires a deep belief that your efforts will pay off in the end, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. This faith is a powerful force as it enables you to overcome doubts, fears, and discouragement. The act of persistence is itself a form of self-assurance, a reminder that the work you are doing is not in vain. And when you persist with unwavering faith, the universe aligns itself with your efforts, gradually opening doors that were once closed. When you are persistent, you create momentum. The initial steps toward any goal can often feel like the hardest. The first attempts may seem slow and laborious, but with each action you take, you gain more energy and confidence. Persistence builds upon itself, and the more you persist, the more progress you make. Even if the progress is not immediately visible, it is accumulating in ways you might not yet realize. Just as the steady drip of water can eventually carve through rock, your consistent efforts, no matter how small they may seem, are slowly but surely making an impact. Momentum is created by persistence, and momentum makes the journey easier. Another powerful element of persistence is its ability to unlock creativity. When faced with challenges, the easy route is to give up, to abandon the pursuit, and to walk away. However, when you choose persistence, you activate your creative potential. When the standard path is blocked, persistence pushes you to look for alternative routes, to think outside the box, and to innovate. It challenges you to find solutions where none seem to exist and to stay open to new ideas. Every time you encounter an obstacle and refuse to give up, you are honing your problem-solving skills and expanding your ability to navigate the unexpected. Persistence unlocks your creativity because it forces you to stretch beyond your comfort zone and tap into the deeper resources within you. At its core, persistence is also a reflection of your belief in your vision. When you are persistent, you are demonstrating that you believe in the outcome so deeply that you are willing to face any difficulty to achieve it. It is the strength of this belief that fuels your persistence. If your goals were not truly important to you, you would not keep pushing forward in the face of adversity. But when you are deeply connected to your vision, when it resonates with your soul, persistence becomes the natural response. You keep going because you are driven by a sense of purpose, knowing that what you are working toward will bring meaning and fulfillment to your life. Persistence also teaches you to take responsibility for your own success. In the face of challenges, it is easy to fall into a victim mindset, to blame external circumstances or other people for your lack of progress. However, persistence calls you to take full ownership of your journey. It reminds you that you have the power to choose how you respond to obstacles and setbacks. Your success is in your hands, and it is up to you to continue moving forward, regardless of the difficulties you may face. With persistence, you empower yourself to control your destiny and to remain focused on your goals, no matter the challenges that arise. Persistence opens the door to everything you desire. It is the key that unlocks the possibilities that are hidden behind the walls of fear, doubt, and resistance. It is the force that propels you toward the life you have always dreamed of, the life that you deserve. By embracing persistence, you give yourself the gift of never giving up, of always moving forward, and of knowing that no matter how many obstacles you face, you will ultimately find your way to the other side. Through persistence, the door to your success is always open, waiting for you to walk through it. Calling on God is not just a plea for help or a desperate cry in times of need. It is, at its core, a recognition of your divine inheritance, a powerful affirmation of the rights that are inherently yours as a child of the Creator. It is an acknowledgement that you are not separate from the divine, but a direct expression of it. When you call on God, you are not only seeking assistance or guidance, you are claiming the very truth of your existence, the truth that you are always supported, always loved, and always connected to the infinite power that sustains all life. At the heart of this calling is the understanding that God is within you, always present, always accessible. Many people perceive God as an external force, something distant and separate from them. But the truth is, God dwells within you. The divine spark that created the universe is the same spark that animates your body, that drives your thoughts, that fuels your desires. When you call on God, you are essentially calling on the deepest part of yourself, the part that knows no limitation, no fear, and no doubt. You are awakening the divine potential within, and in doing so, you are claiming the right to live a life of abundance, peace, and purpose. When you truly grasp the concept of your divine right, calling on God becomes an act of empowerment. It is no longer about pleading for something you feel you lack. Instead, it is about stepping into the fullness of who you are and recognizing the abundance that is already yours. This is the essence of faith, believing that what you need is already provided, that the desires of your heart are already on their way, and that you have the right to receive them. Calling on God is a declaration that you are ready to receive your good, that you are willing to align yourself with the divine flow of life, and that you trust in the process of manifestation. The act of calling on God is also an invitation to experience divine guidance and wisdom. In the quiet moments when you seek God's presence, you are opening yourself up to receive the answers that you need. Too often, we are caught up in the noise of the world, trying to figure everything out on our own, relying on our intellect and our limited understanding. But when you call on God, you surrender the need to control everything and allow the divine wisdom to guide you. You claim the right to live with clarity, to make decisions with confidence, and to trust that the answers you seek are already available to you. This guidance is not always immediate or in the form you expect, but it is always present, waiting for you to listen with an open heart and mind. Calling on God is a process of aligning yourself with your higher purpose. Each of us is born with a unique set of gifts, talents, and a specific mission in this life. Yet many people go through life without fully understanding their purpose or how to align their actions with it. By calling on God, you are reaffirming your connection to the divine plan for your life. You are claiming the right to live in harmony with your soul's purpose, to move forward in the direction that brings fulfillment and joy. It is through this alignment that you find true satisfaction, not in external accomplishments or possessions, but in the deep knowing that you are living authentically and in harmony with your true self. One of the most profound aspects of calling on God is the recognition that you are never alone. Life can sometimes feel isolating, as if you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. But in those moments, calling on God serves as a reminder that you are never disconnected from the divine source. You are part of a larger, interconnected whole, and the support of the divine is always available to you. You can call on God in times of joy or sorrow, in moments of confusion or clarity, and know that you are met with love, grace, and unwavering presence. This realization brings comfort and peace, knowing that you are always supported in every moment. The process of calling on God is also deeply transformative. It is through this act of surrender and invocation that you begin to change from the inside out. As you call on the divine, you align yourself with the highest version of yourself, and you allow that version to express through you. This alignment with the divine creates a shift in your energy, your mindset, and your behavior. You begin to see the world differently, approaching each situation with more compassion, more patience, and more understanding. Your relationships improve, your mindset shifts toward abundance, and your life becomes a reflection of the divine qualities that are now flowing through you. Calling on God is an expression of faith, trust, and the recognition of your divine inheritance. It is an acknowledgement that you are never separate from the Creator, but an integral part of the divine tapestry that is constantly unfolding. When you call on God, you are claiming your right to abundance, guidance, love, and support. You are stepping into the fullness of your power and purpose, and you are inviting the divine to work through you in every aspect of your life. By calling on God, you are affirming that you are worthy, that you are supported, and that you are ready to receive all the blessings the universe has to offer. In conclusion, calling on God is not just a request for assistance, it is a powerful affirmation of your divine right to live a life of abundance, peace, and purpose. It is the recognition that you are a direct expression of the divine, connected to an infinite source of wisdom, love, and guidance. When you call on God, you are claiming the fullness of your being and aligning yourself with your higher purpose. You are trusting in the divine flow of life, surrendering the need to control, and allowing grace to guide you. Through this connection, you find the strength to overcome obstacles, the clarity to make decisions, and the courage to step into the life you were always meant to live. Remember, calling on God is an act of empowerment. It is the realization that you are never alone, that you are always supported, and that you are worthy of every blessing that comes your way. Trust in this divine connection and watch as your life unfolds with miracles, synchronicities, and opportunities that lead you to your highest good. Thank you for taking the time to listen and reflect on these words. May you always remember that you are divinely supported, and that when you call on God, you are claiming the full expression of your highest self. There comes a time in every life where you must pause and examine the patterns you have created. Ask yourself, how often have you compromised your truth to make others comfortable? How many times have you silenced your voice, softened your stance, and dimmed your light in an attempt to be accepted or loved? True self-love begins with understanding the necessity of boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers to connection, they are bridges to self-respect and authentic relationships. To live a fulfilled life, you must recognize that saying no is not an act of rejection but a declaration of worth. Without boundaries, you risk losing yourself in the expectations, demands, and desires of others, leaving your own needs and values neglected. Many believe that to be kind and loving means to be endlessly accommodating, to give without limit, and to always put others first. But this is a misunderstanding of what it truly means to love. Genuine love does not require self-sacrifice at the expense of your dignity or well-being. Love rooted in strength honors both yourself and others, while love without boundaries leads to imbalance, resentment, and a fractured sense of self. When you fail to establish boundaries, you invite chaos into your life. You may find yourself saying yes when every fiber of your being screams no. You may agree to things that drain your energy, disrupt your peace, or compromise your values, all because you fear disappointing others. But what you must understand is that the approval you seek from others can never fill the void left by abandoning your own truth. Pleasing everyone is a task not even the divine can achieve, so why burden yourself with such an impossible weight? Boundaries are an act of self-preservation, a shield that protects the sanctity of your inner world. Think of your mind as a garden. Without boundaries, this garden is left open for anyone to wander through, to trample over your flowers, and to plant weeds that choke the life out of what you've carefully cultivated. Boundaries are the fence around your garden, not to isolate you, but to protect the beauty and growth within. Only those who respect your space, your values, and your worth are allowed to enter. Setting boundaries does not mean closing yourself off or being unkind. It means being clear about what you will and will allow in your life. It means valuing yourself enough to prioritize your well-being over the fleeting approval of others. And yes, some people may resist your boundaries. They may accuse you of being selfish or uncaring because they have benefited from your lack of limits. But remember, their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to honor yourself, even if that means others must adjust to your new way of being. The beauty of boundaries is that they create space for true connection. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. You signal that you value yourself and that you expect others to do the same. This kind of clarity fosters respect, trust, and mutual understanding in your relationships. Without boundaries, interactions often become transactional, where one person gives endlessly while the other takes without consideration. Boundaries transform these dynamics, ensuring that relationships are balanced and rooted in equality. Establishing boundaries requires courage. It requires you to confront your fears of rejection, judgment, and conflict. It may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to prioritizing others over yourself. But this discomfort is a small price to pay for the freedom and empowerment that boundaries bring. When you say no to what does not serve you, you are saying yes to your growth, your peace, and your authenticity. Boundaries also reflect your understanding of your inherent worth. You were not created to be everything to everyone. You are not here to solve every problem, to accommodate every demand, or to sacrifice yourself for the sake of others. You are here to live fully, to express your unique gifts, and to create a life that aligns with your values and desires. Boundaries allow you to do this unapologetically. It's important to recognize that boundaries are not rigid or unyielding. They are flexible, evolving with your needs and circumstances. They are not meant to punish others, but to honor yourself. Boundaries are acts of self-love, and when you love yourself fully, you empower others to do the same. Boundaries are not about keeping others out. They are about keeping yourself whole. They are a declaration to the world that you know your worth, and that you will not settle for anything less than what honors your highest good. They remind you that your energy is sacred, your time is precious, and your life is yours to design. So when you set boundaries, do so with confidence and grace. Understand that you are not depriving others, you are teaching them how to value both you and themselves. You are creating a life that reflects your truth, a life where you can thrive without fear or compromise. And in doing so, you step into the fullness of who you are: strong, self-assured, and unshakably free. Your mind is the most sacred part of your being, a vast and fertile garden where every thought, belief, and intention takes root. Like any garden, it requires care, attention, and protection. If you leave your mind unguarded, you risk allowing negativity, doubt, and unworthy influences to take hold, choking the growth of all that is good and true within you. It is your responsibility to be the vigilant gardener, ensuring that only what nourishes and uplifts you is allowed to flourish. The world around you is filled with noise, opinions, expectations, judgments, and distractions that seek entry into your mental space. Every advertisement, every comment, every interaction carries the potential to plant a seed in your mind. Some of these seeds may be empowering, but many are weeds in disguise, subtle yet destructive. A single careless thought, left unchecked, can grow into a belief that undermines your confidence, your peace, or your purpose. This is why guarding your inner garden is not optional, it is essential to living a life of fulfillment and freedom. To guard your mind, you must first become aware of what enters it. Pay attention to the voices you listen to, the media you consume, and the company you keep. Every conversation, every book, every piece of information you allow into your awareness either nurtures your garden or diminishes it. Ask yourself, is this thought or influence helping me grow? Is it aligned with the person I aspire to be? If the answer is no, you must have the courage to reject it. Protecting your mind is not about being closed off to the world, it is about being discerning. Negative thoughts are like invasive weeds. They may start small and seem harmless, but if left unaddressed, they spread quickly, suffocating the beauty and vitality of your inner landscape. A single doubt, if entertained, can multiply into fear, insecurity, and despair. This is why it is so important to pull out negative thoughts the moment they arise. Challenge them, question their validity, and replace them with affirmations of truth and strength. Remember, you are not at the mercy of your thoughts, you are the master of your mind. Guarding your inner garden also means cultivating the soil of your consciousness with positive and empowering beliefs. Just as a gardener enriches the earth with nutrients, you must enrich your mind with gratitude, hope, and faith. Spend time each day nurturing thoughts that inspire you, uplift you, and remind you of your inherent worth. Visualize your goals, affirm your strengths, and meditate on the infinite potential within you. The more you focus on what is good, the more your garden will bloom with abundance and beauty. One of the most powerful ways to protect your mind is to limit your exposure to negativity. This does not mean avoiding challenges or difficult truths. It means refusing to dwell in toxic environments or entertain destructive influences. Be mindful of the people you surround yourself with. Some individuals are like sunshine and rain for your garden, encouraging growth and vitality. Others are like storms, uprooting your peace and scattering your focus. Choose wisely who you allow into your life, for their energy inevitably affects your own. Silence is another vital tool for guarding your inner garden. In a world that constantly demands your attention, silence offers a sanctuary where you can reconnect with your true self. Take time each day to step away from the noise and sit in stillness. In this quiet space, you can hear the whispers of your soul, discern your true desires, and gain clarity about what deserves your energy and attention. Silence is not emptiness, it is the fertile ground where your most profound insights and inspirations can emerge. Understand that guarding your inner garden is not about perfection, it is about consistency. There will be days when weeds slip through, when doubt creeps in, or when negativity feels overwhelming. But as long as you remain committed to tending your garden, you will always have the power to restore its beauty and balance. Each moment is an opportunity to choose what you allow to grow within you. Choose wisely, for your thoughts shape your reality. Your mind is your greatest treasure, the source of all creativity, joy, and transformation in your life. When you guard it diligently, you create a sanctuary where your dreams can take root and flourish. You become the architect of your destiny, no longer swayed by the chaos of the world, but guided by the clarity and strength within. Guarding your inner garden is not just a practice, it is a way of life, a declaration of your commitment to living authentically and abundantly. So stand as the vigilant gardener of your mind. Watch carefully what you allow in, nurture the thoughts that empower you, and remove anything that threatens your peace or growth. This is your sacred space, your inner sanctuary, and it deserves nothing less than your unwavering attention and care. When you protect and cultivate your inner garden, you will find that it overflows with beauty, resilience, and boundless possibility. Many of us spend our lives chasing the approval and acceptance of others, believing that if we can please everyone around us, we will finally feel whole. This belief, however, is a trap, a grand illusion that leads not to fulfillment, but to exhaustion and emptiness. The idea that you must be liked, validated, or embraced by everyone to feel valuable is one of the most persistent and damaging lies you can tell yourself. The truth is, seeking acceptance from others is like chasing a shadow. No matter how fast you run, it always stays out of reach. The need for acceptance often stems from a fear of rejection. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to believe that our worth depends on how others perceive us. We are taught to conform, to be agreeable, and to avoid conflict at all costs. This conditioning encourages us to suppress our true selves, to hide our flaws, and to mold ourselves into what we think others want us to be. Over time, we begin to equate being accepted with being loved, and we sacrifice authenticity for approval. But love built on pretense is not love at all. It is a fragile construct that crumbles under the weight of its own falseness. The pursuit of acceptance is inherently flawed because it is impossible to please everyone. Human beings are complex and diverse, each with their own opinions, preferences, and biases. What one person admires in you, another may criticize. Trying to adapt to the expectations of others is like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips through. leaving you empty and frustrated. This constant shifting to gain approval not only erodes your sense of self but also drains your energy and joy. Furthermore, the acceptance you seek from others often has little to do with you and everything to do with them. People view the world through the lens of their own experiences, insecurities, and values. When someone rejects you or fails to approve of you, it is often a reflection of their own inner struggles, not a judgment of your worth. Understanding this liberates you from the burden of taking others' opinions personally. It allows you to see that their acceptance or rejection does not define you, it defines them. True acceptance cannot be found in the opinions of others, it must come from within. When you accept yourself fully, flaws, strengths, and all, you no longer feel the need to seek validation from external sources. Self-acceptance is a powerful force because it frees you from the illusion that you must earn your worth. It reminds you that your value is inherent, not conditional. You are worthy not because of what you do, how you look, or how others perceive you, but simply because you exist. When you stop seeking acceptance, you often attract genuine connection. People are drawn to authenticity, to those who are unapologetically themselves. When you live in alignment with your truth, you inspire others to do the same. This creates relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, rather than on the fragile foundation of approval seeking. The people who truly matter in your life will love you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Breaking free from the illusion of acceptance requires courage. It means risking disapproval, standing firm in your values, and being willing to walk alone if necessary. But this bravery is rewarded with a profound sense of freedom. When you no longer depend on others to validate your existence, you reclaim your power. You become the author of your own story, unshaken by the opinions or judgments of others. It is also important to recognize that rejection is not the end, it is a redirection. When someone does not accept you, it simply means they are not aligned with your path. This is not a failure but an opportunity to find those who are. Rejection clears the way for relationships and experiences that truly resonate with your soul. Embrace it as a gift that guides you closer to your authentic self. Remember, the world's approval is fleeting and unreliable. What is celebrated today may be condemned tomorrow. Basing your worth on such a fragile foundation is like building a house on shifting sands. Instead, ground yourself in the unshakable truth of your own value. Let your acceptance of yourself be the solid rock upon which you stand. The illusion of acceptance loses its power the moment you realize that you do not need it to be happy, fulfilled, or whole. Your worth does not come from others, it comes from within. When you let go of the need for external validation, you step into a life of authenticity, freedom, and peace. You become unshakable, no longer swayed by the tides of opinion, but rooted in the truth of who you are. There comes a moment in life when you must confront the question of your own worth. It is not something defined by the opinions of others, the balance in your bank account, or the achievements you display. Self-worth is inherent, an unshakable truth that exists within you, whether you acknowledge it or not. Yet for many, the pressures and influences of the world obscure this truth, leading to a sense of inadequacy or unworthiness. To reclaim your self-worth is to rediscover your intrinsic value and step back into the power that has always been yours. Reclaiming self-worth starts with recognizing that your value is not conditional. It is not earned through effort or dependent on circumstances. It simply is. You are worthy because you exist, because you are a unique expression of life itself. There is no one else like you, and there never will be. This truth may seem simple, but embracing it requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to let go of the stories you've been told about who you should be, and instead honor who you truly are. To reclaim your self-worth, you must learn to silence the inner critic that constantly tells you you're not enough. This voice, often born from past experiences or the harsh words of others, thrives on comparison and doubt. It convinces you that you must be perfect to be valued, that your flaws make you unlovable. But this voice is not the truth, it is a distortion. You must challenge it, question its validity, and replace it with a kinder, more compassionate narrative. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend, encouraging, understanding, and unwavering in support. Setting boundaries is another essential step in reclaiming self-worth. When you value yourself, you protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. You stop saying yes to things that deplete you simply to avoid disappointing others. You learn to walk away from situations and relationships that do not honor your worth. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out, they are expressions of self-respect. They signal to the world and to yourself that you recognize your value and will not allow it to be diminished. Reclaiming self-worth also requires reconnecting with your inner self. In the busyness of life, it's easy to lose touch with who you are beneath the roles you play and the expectations you carry. Take time to reflect, to sit in silence, and to ask yourself, what do I truly desire? What brings me joy? What are my values, and how can I live in alignment with them? The answers to these questions remind you of your authenticity, the unique essence that makes you valuable beyond measure. Another powerful practice in reclaiming self-worth is forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. You may carry guilt or shame for mistakes you've made, believing they diminish your value. But your worth is not defined by your past, it is constant and unchanging. Forgive yourself for the times you've fallen short, for the ways you've doubted or neglected yourself. Let go of the burdens that weigh you down and reaffirm your right to start anew. Gratitude is also a gateway to self-worth. By appreciating the gifts within you, your talents, your resilience, your capacity for love, you shift your focus from lack to abundance. Gratitude reminds you of the richness of your being, of all the ways you contribute to the world simply by being yourself. It helps you see that you are enough, just as you are, and that your presence has value beyond what can be measured. Reclaiming self-worth is not a one-time event, it is a daily practice. It requires patience, persistence, and a commitment to honoring yourself, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. It means standing tall in the face of doubt, loving yourself through the ups and downs, and refusing to let anyone or anything make you feel small. When you reclaim your self-worth, you step into a life of authenticity and freedom. You no longer seek approval from others, because you already approve of yourself. You make choices that align with your truth, unburdened by the fear of judgment. And most importantly, you radiate a confidence that inspires others to see the worth within themselves. Reclaiming your self-worth is not just a gift to yourself, it is a gift to the world. In every interaction, there is an opportunity to reflect the truth back to others, to be a mirror that shows them who they are, where they stand, and what they project into the world. Yet many of us choose instead to be cushions, absorbing their pain, justifying their missteps, and softening the edges of hard realities. While this approach may seem kind or compassionate, it often does more harm than good. To truly help others and ourselves, we must step away from the role of the cushion and embrace the role of the mirror. Being a mirror means having the courage to reflect honesty, even when it is uncomfortable. It is not about judgment or criticism, but about providing clarity. A mirror does not distort, it does not add or subtract. It simply reveals what is. When you act as a mirror, you give others the gift of self-awareness. You allow them to see themselves clearly without the noise of excuses or the veil of denial. This clarity can be a powerful catalyst for growth and transformation. Being a cushion often leads to enabling behaviors. When you cushion someone from the consequences of their actions, you inadvertently reinforce patterns that may not serve them. For example, when you constantly make excuses for someone who repeatedly makes poor choices, you deprive them of the opportunity to take responsibility and learn. While it may feel compassionate to shield someone from discomfort, true compassion involves empowering them to face their realities and grow stronger in the process. The role of the mirror requires boundaries. It demands that you hold space for truth without taking on the emotional burdens of others. This does not mean you lack empathy, it means you recognize that everyone is responsible for their own journey. When you act as a cushion, you may find yourself drained as you absorb the weight of others' emotions and challenges. Over time, this can lead to resentment, exhaustion, and a loss of your own sense of self. To be a mirror, you must stand firm in your own energy, reflecting rather than absorbing. Reflecting truth does not mean being harsh or unkind. A mirror can reveal with gentleness. It can show someone their strengths as well as their blind spots. It can highlight potential as much as it points out areas for improvement. The key is balance, delivering honesty with love, ensuring that what you reflect is constructive rather than destructive. The goal is not to break someone down, but to help them see clearly so they can build themselves up. Being a mirror also involves self-awareness. Before you can reflect truth to others, you must first understand your own biases and projections. A cloudy or distorted mirror cannot offer clarity. Take time to examine your own thoughts, beliefs, and reactions. Are you projecting your own insecurities or fears onto others? Are you withholding the truth out of fear of conflict or rejection? To be an effective mirror, you must first polish your own inner lens, ensuring that what you reflect is free from distortion. One of the greatest challenges in being a mirror is navigating the discomfort that truth often brings. Many people resist seeing themselves as they truly are. They may react defensively, deny what you reflect, or even lash out. In these moments, it is essential to remain grounded. Remember, your role is not to force anyone to accept the truth, but to offer it with integrity. Whether they choose to embrace it is ultimately up to them. The beauty of being a mirror lies in its transformative potential. When someone sees themselves clearly, they gain the power to change. They can confront their fears, break free from limiting beliefs, and take steps toward becoming their best selves. By reflecting truth, you become a catalyst for this transformation. You encourage growth not through force, but through awareness. At the same time, being a mirror benefits you as well. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of trying to fix or save others. It allows you to maintain your own boundaries and protect your energy. It also deepens your relationships as interactions become grounded in authenticity rather than pretense. Being a mirror rather than a cushion is an act of love, not just for others, but for yourself. It is a commitment to honesty, growth, and mutual respect. It is a recognition that while you cannot walk someone else's path for them, you can help light the way. By reflecting truth, you empower others to take ownership of their lives, and you free yourself to do the same. It is a gift that requires courage and compassion, but one that has the power to transform lives, including your own. Manifestation is the process of bringing your desires into reality, and its foundation lies in the energy and mindset from which you operate. Too often people attempt to manifest from a place of lack, fear, or desperation, unknowingly reinforcing the very conditions they seek to escape. True manifestation, however, flows from strength and unshakable belief in your worthiness, the clarity of your desires, and the power within you to create your reality. When you manifest from strength, you align with the abundant energy of the universe and open the door to limitless possibilities. Manifesting from strength begins with shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing yourself as incomplete or unworthy, recognize that you are already whole. Everything you desire exists within you as a seed, waiting to be nurtured and expressed. Your external circumstances are merely a reflection of your internal state. To change what you experience, you must first change how you perceive yourself. Strength comes from knowing that you are not defined by your current conditions, but by the infinite potential within you. The first step to manifesting from strength is cultivating self-belief. You must trust that you are deserving of your desires and capable of achieving them. This belief is not arrogance, it is an acknowledgement of the divine power that flows through you. When you believe in yourself, you radiate confidence and magnetism. This energy draws opportunities, resources, and people into your life that align with your desires. Conversely, when you doubt yourself, you repel the very things you seek, as your energy signals uncertainty and fear. Another key to manifesting from strength is focusing on abundance rather than lack. Instead of fixating on what you don't have, express gratitude for what you do. Gratitude is a powerful vibration that amplifies positive energy and shifts your focus toward abundance. When you appreciate the blessings already present in your life, you align with the frequency of receiving more. Gratitude also reinforces the belief that the universe is supportive, and that your desires are on their way. Clarity is essential when manifesting from strength. Weakness often arises from confusion or indecision. If you are unclear about what you want, your energy becomes scattered, and your manifestations lose power. Take time to define your desires with precision. What does your ideal life look like? How do you feel when your desires are fulfilled? The more specific and vivid your vision, the more focused your energy becomes. This clarity acts as a beacon, guiding your actions and drawing your desires toward you. Emotional alignment is equally important. Manifestation is not just about thinking positively, it's about feeling as though your desires are already yours. Emotions are the language of the universe, and they amplify your intentions. When you manifest from strength, you embody the feelings of success, love, or abundance you seek. You become the person who already has what you desire. This emotional alignment bridges the gap between your current reality and your desired outcome, making it inevitable. Taking inspired action is another hallmark of manifesting from strength. While visualization and affirmations are powerful tools, they must be paired with action. Strength is demonstrated through your willingness to step out of your comfort zone and move toward your goals. These actions don't need to be grand, even small. Consistent steps can create momentum. When you act from a place of confidence and faith, the universe responds by opening doors and presenting opportunities. Manifesting from strength requires patience and trust. Weakness often manifests as impatience or a need to control every detail of the process. This neediness signals doubt and creates resistance. Strength, on the other hand, allows you to surrender. It is the unwavering trust that your desires are unfolding in perfect timing, even if you cannot yet see the evidence. When you let go of attachment to the outcome, you release resistance and create space for miracles. Manifestation is not about forcing the universe to give you what you want. It is about aligning yourself with the energy of your desires. By manifesting from strength, you move beyond the limitations of fear and lack. You step into the truth of your power, radiating confidence and certainty. The universe responds to this energy by reflecting back abundance, love, and opportunities. When you manifest from strength, you are not just creating a better life, you are transforming yourself into a beacon of possibility and inspiration for others. You are a creator, and your strength is the foundation of your limitless potential. In conclusion, manifesting from strength is about stepping into your inherent power, shifting your focus from lack to abundance, and aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality you wish to create. It requires self-belief, clarity, emotional alignment, inspired action, and patience. When you embody these principles, you unlock the ability to attract and create a life that reflects your highest potential. Remember, the universe responds not to desperation but to the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth and trusts the process. You are already whole, already capable, and already aligned with the infinite abundance of life. Manifestation begins with you, your energy, your mindset, and your willingness to stand in your strength. Thank you for taking the time to journey through this reflection. May you move forward with confidence, clarity, and an unwavering belief in the extraordinary power within you.